Are you looking to move from Seattle to Austin? Both cities make some of the top list of fastest growing cities in the United States. They both have many things in common, but they also have some differences. Both have similar politics and both have strong job opportunities, particularly in the tech industry, and both have no state income tax. I've had the opportunity to travel to Seattle and spend some time there, and I have friends that live in the city just south of Seattle called Puyallup, and staying there several different times gave me a really good taste of what the culture was like, things to do in the city, and just understanding the overall vibe of Seattle. There are some things that I loved about the area, and there were some other things that I wasn't a huge fan of. But if you're looking to make a move to Austin, I'm here today to tell you some of the things that you can look forward to and some of the things that maybe you don't agree with or maybe not like so much. My name is Shannon Green, and I'm a realtor here in Austin, Texas. If you're looking to relocate to Austin, I've been here since 1994, and I can definitely help show you everything you want to know about the city, the different neighborhoods around, and just plain living in Austin in general. If you're looking to buy or sell, I'm happy to help. My information is below. You can call, text, or email me. I would love to set up a one-on-one call to understand what your exact needs are and how I can assist you. Let's start off by going through some stats. Austin has a higher population and a younger average age. The female to male ratio is very similar between both cities. When you're looking at married versus single, Austin has a few more married couples than Seattle does. And there are just a few less single people in Austin than Seattle. Now, looking at these numbers, I would have to assume that both cities have a pretty strong dating pool. Seattle has a larger Asian population, while Austin has a larger Hispanic population. The median home price in Seattle has continued to rise, reaching approximately $850,000, according to the Northwest Multiple Listing Service. In Austin, the median price has also increased, reaching around $600,000, according to the Austin Board of Realtors. Now let's move into some topics that I was able to see while I was in Seattle and how it compares and contrasts to Austin. The first obvious thing that I noticed when we landed in Seattle is as you are looking around, you see mountains, and that was beautiful to me. Seattle is surrounded by the rugged peaks of the Cascade and Olympic mountain ranges. And for someone who isn't used to being around mountains, I thought this was very beautiful. And if you know me, you know I love water. And so having water right there too, along with the mountains, I feel like it couldn't be beat. With Seattle being on the waterfront of Puget Sound and having the ability to have water sports there, whale watching in the area, I think that's like a plus for the Seattle area. And the one thing that stood out the most to me as we were leaving Seattle and driving to Puyallup was seeing all of the massive trees. The Douglas firs and the western red cedars, all of the tall green trees. It was like a forest. And driving through that in the hills was to me a beautiful, beautiful area that I was not used to seeing. And my friends that lived there, when I was talking about it, were kind of like, yeah, it's pretty. But when you don't have that and you don't have it to look at every day, it's drop dead gorgeous. So if I were to compare the two, I would say Seattle's a win for landscape. However, Texas is in the hill country, and so we have lots of rolling hills. We have limestone cliffs all around our lakes and through. A lot of the roads that we drive through are running through hills, carve out the roads in between these hills, which creates these limestone cliffs along each side, which is a really cool thing. Now, just like Seattle, Austin is on the water. The Colorado River runs through downtown Austin and it dams up, creating Lady Bird Lake as one lake, and at the next dam, it becomes Lake Austin, which is 22 miles long. It dams up again and becomes Lake Travis, which is the wider, more open and deeper part of the river. So no matter where you are in Austin, you have lake access in addition to watering holes. When you look at the beautiful Texas hill country, it's rolling hills, not mountains, and most of our trees in the area tend to be oak trees or juniper trees, which are not nearly as tall as what I saw in the Seattle area. I'm going to go through a little bit of cost of living because everyone wants to know if they're moving to a new place, how it would compare to where they currently live. And as we said before, the median price for a home in Seattle is around $850,000, and here in Austin, it's around $600,000. So there's a big difference in numbers there. So that's one of the big advantages of moving to Austin, is the cost of living is going to be in your favor. And another factor in cost of living is groceries, and Seattle right now is around 15% higher than the national average. A gallon of milk is around like $4, and a loaf of bread would be around like $3.50. Whereas in Austin, you can get a gallon of milk for around $3 and a loaf of bread for around $2.50. So slight variations there, but definite cost savings in the grocery segment. When it comes to transportation, in Seattle, if you're using the public transit system, you're looking at around $110 monthly for a pass. But the one thing I could say is at least they have a strong public transit system. When we landed in Seattle one time, we actually took the train on purpose. It was called the light rail, I think. And I didn't think it was that expensive, but we took it on purpose just to be able to take the ride and see the scenery. And it dropped us off in Sumner right by Puyallup to where our friends could pick us up easily. Now, although there's a strong transit system, a lot of people in Seattle still have a car, because if you live in Seattle, a lot of people still want to leave to go do things like hiking or biking. So they still have a car. And in Austin, you'll find the very same thing. We have a public transit system. I don't believe it's as strong as Seattle's, but most people in Austin do have a car to get around. And when it comes to gas prices, Austin is a no-brainer for the win. Seattle gas prices are very expensive. Today, they're around $4.67 per gallon, where Austin is $3.32 per gallon. Now, there is a state tax that gets wrapped into that per gallon price, and in Washington, that's about 50 cents per gallon, whereas in Texas, it's about 20 cents per gallon. And parking fees downtown tend to be slightly higher than Austin is. So you'll have savings all the way around when it comes to transportation in Austin. If you live in Seattle now, you know that the tech industry is very strong. It is in Austin as well. In Seattle, you have Amazon, Expedia, Microsoft, and in Austin, you'll see Apple, Google, Dell, IBM, and we also have the Tesla Gigafactory. When it comes to the job market, there's a lot of diversity in both cities. While Seattle is definitely strong in tech, they also have healthcare, retail, aerospace as major industries in the city. In Austin, you'll see tech, healthcare, education, and government jobs because it is the state capital. If you're wondering about some of the places that you could possibly work, healthcare, you have Ascension and St. David's and Dell Children's. In the government, you have any kind of state jobs that are available. Don't forget, we have Austin Community College and the University of Texas at Austin, right here in Austin. And right down the road, we also have Texas State University. So very strong education opportunities as well. When we're talking about job opportunities in Austin, keep in mind a lot of these jobs pay really well. So when you look at Austin as a whole compared to Seattle, you have a lower cost of living, very high paying jobs still, which can mean a better quality of life. And speaking of quality of life, let's talk about some outdoor recreation and how it compares from Seattle to Austin. Now in Seattle, you get to do a lot of outdoor activities like hiking in the nearby Cascade Mountains, kayaking in the Puget Sound area, and snow skiing in nearby resorts like Stevens Pass or Crystal Mountain. In Austin, we have plenty of swimming, hiking, biking, paddleboarding, anything outdoor you can think of. The only thing that we can't do, again, because we don't have mountains, is the snow skiing. So I think both cities compare as far as being able to get outside and have a lot of fun. It's just different climates. If you are a fan of the water, then you have opportunities to have any kind of fun that you want on Lady Bird Lake, Lake Austin, Lake Travis, Bikini Falls, Deep Eddy Pool, Hamilton's Pool. There's numerous places to go and play for swimming, skiing, surfing, paddleboarding, you name it, there's plenty of water sports to do. Now, Seattle's cultural scene has a lot of museums, like the Seattle Art Museum and the Museum of Pop Culture. They also have a lot of events like film festivals and music festivals. So if you're wondering if you're going to be missing out on those things, you won't, because when you come to Austin, there are plenty of festivals to be had. We have great museums as well, like the Blanton Art Museum. And as you know, Austin is known to be the live music capital of the world, where we have events, bars with live music, festivals with music. There's always something to do in Austin when it comes to music. In addition to music, we have things like the Trail of Lights at Christmas time, which is in Zilker Park, and it is a scene to be had at Christmas time with so many lights that you've probably never seen before. So make sure if you're coming to Austin to definitely come see the Trail of Lights. If you're into music, make sure that you have at least a chance to go see South by Southwest or the Austin City Limits Festival. Both are completely different from each other, but both really great experiences if you're a music lover. Now, one of the biggest differences that I saw between Seattle and Austin, and this is something you need to prepare for, is the weather. As you know, Seattle has mild, rainy winters and cooler, drier summers, and the temperatures there range from 40 to 70 degrees on average. Now, what was surprising to me is that the city only gets 38 inches of rain, and when you think about Seattle, you think rain all the time, but it's a different type of rain. So the amount of water in Seattle that you get when it rains is much different than when it rains in Texas. In Austin, we average about 32 inches of rain annually, but many times when we get rain, it's different than in Seattle. We get downpours, or we'll get some rain. When we get a little bit of rain, we're really happy because it's great for the grass and it's great for landscaping, but when it really rains, it rains hard and fast, and our ground is so dry that it just runs off of it and it ends up causing flooding in some areas. The good news is it doesn't happen often, but it does happen. I will say that if I had my choice, I would trade Seattle summer for Austin summer any day of the week because I don't like it to be too hot. You literally have to be in the water to survive the summers in Austin or inside. In Seattle, it's a much cooler temperature. In Austin, it can get higher than 100 degrees, and with a little mix of humidity, it's just plain miserable. Living here since 1994, you get used to it, but every summer, by the end of July, you start counting the days until it hits into September or October when it starts cooling off a little bit. A very positive thing is if you're coming to Austin, you can let go of all of those cloudy days. So from what I understand is Seattle experiences around 201 cloudy days a year and 93 partly cloudy days. Now, if you do the math on that, that leaves only 71 nice days. And there is something called seasonal affective disorder. And if you look at the acronym for that, it is SAD, S-A-D, seasonal affective disorder. And it is a real thing, and many people in Seattle experience this because let's face it, it's not fun to be in cloudy weather every single day. So if you're coming to Austin, welcome and expect a lot of sunny days ahead. When you're comparing the food scene, both cities are major cities, so you're going to have great varieties of food and types of dining options. So I would say that we break even in that area. So expect to have a lot of new things to try. Both cities both have great restaurants. Now, the one thing that you might be able to experience here in Austin that you didn't get to experience in Seattle is phenomenal Texas barbecue. We are known for having great Texas barbecue, so definitely try it when you're here. And also, another thing you could try is our Tex-Mex, because on every corner of the city, there is some kind of restaurant that has Tex-Mex food. So when you get here, definitely try out some of our barbecue and our Tex-Mex restaurants. One thing I noticed when we were in Seattle, which I didn't love, is when we were out and about in the city, going down to the fish market and trying different things, not many people spoke to us. And when we did try to strike up a conversation with people, they weren't that interested in talking to us. They weren't that friendly to me. And in Austin, it's the total reverse. You can go almost anywhere and strike up a conversation with anybody. I had a friend in town 2 weeks ago, and she's from Wisconsin, and we went into this great restaurant on South Congress called Abba, and there was no seating at all, but these two women were at the bar. We started talking to them. They were leaving. We took their seats. So we got in, and then about an hour and a half later, we were shopping up and down Congress. We ran into those same two women. They struck up a conversation with us, and we started comparing notes on what we had been doing. And I think Sarah, my friend, was a little shocked, and she kind of was like, they were so nice. And I'm like, that's just how people are here. So as you move here to Austin, expect to be welcomed with that Texas hospitality, because it's a real thing. I want to break down the taxes, property taxes and state taxes for you so that you know the differences. In Seattle, the property taxes average around 1.1% of the home's assessed value. And in Austin, the average is around 1.8%. a little bit higher than the Seattle area, but keep in mind our property values are lower, and Texas property tax system includes homestead exemption, which helped mitigate the rise of property values. Washington has some of the highest statewide sales tax rates in the country. They're currently set around 6.5%. Local jurisdictions may levy some additional sales taxes, which can end up being sometimes a combined 10%. Texas imposes a sales tax at 6.25%, and additional sales taxes can be upwards of 2%. Still lower than Washington, much lower. So just one more way that you'll be able to save money when you come here. Now, finally, I want to kind of touch on something. I don't like to get into politics too much on this channel, but I will say a lot of people consider Austin a progressive city. And so with the mindset of knowing that Austin is a progressive city, because we are the state capital, and that tends to be the situation for any state capital. If you're coming from Washington, they have that whole term, don't California my Texas. There's a reason for that. You have to remember that if you're coming from Washington, Washington is a blue state. Texas is a red state. Even though you were in the capital in a progressive city, you are in a red state. I think what you'll see in Austin is there's a lot of everything here. So yes, Austin is considered progressive, but keep in mind you are sitting in a red state. So you will see a blend of everything here. I hope that gave you some information to help you understand the differences in Seattle and Austin. Both are great cities. If you're considering a move here, I would love to meet up with you and do a one-on-one and kind of go through what it is you're exactly looking for so that I can help you find that perfect spot here in Austin. My information is below again, and please like and subscribe if you like the content I'm putting out. And if you want to hear any additional content, put it in the comments below and I'll check it out. And if you have any specific questions, reach out to me. I'm happy to go through anything that you want to cover. And I will see you on the next video.